One mongoose is vanishing inside 4 meters of muscle, and his family is charging back. Moments earlier, the troop had crossed this dry savanna as one moving body. At the foot of a termite mound, an African rock python waited in shadow. Its broken pattern matched the earth so perfectly that the danger seemed invisible. 20 banded mongooses searched the grass, each following its own trail of food. One adult with a notched left ear stopped to dig beside the mound. While he worked, the others slipped farther into the grass behind him. A heavy coil moved through the dust, but the mongoose never looked up. The python raised its head and folded its neck into a tight striking curve. A tongue flick was the only warning before the ground suddenly exploded. The mongoose twisted aside, but the jaws caught his right shoulder. Backward curved teeth held fast, while the python pulled him toward its body. The first loop crossed his chest before his claws found solid ground. A second loop closed around his hips, locking prey and predator together. Every struggle gave the snake another chance to remove space from the coils. Then, a sharp distress call cut through the grass and reached the troop. One mongoose stopped. Then every head turned toward the same distant sound. Banded mongooses live in social groups where danger can recruit many defenders. The largest adult ran first, and the entire troop followed through the dust. They returned to find their companion almost hidden beneath the python. Constriction is often described as suffocation, but the pressure can stop circulation first. Blood pressure collapses, the brain loses oxygen, and consciousness may fade rapidly. Yet the python must maintain force, position, and contact for the hold to work. Its jaws were occupied, and most of its body was wrapped around one animal. That left meters of exposed flank within reach of an angry troop. The first mongoose rushed in, bit the python's side, and immediately pulled away. The snake whipped its tail across the ground and scattered the nearest attackers. They rolled through the dust, regained their feet, and came straight back. A second rush struck from the opposite side before the python could turn. Now the troop attacked in waves, forcing the snake to react again and again. One adult clamped onto the tail, while 2 others worried the thick mid-body. The python heaved sideways, but the coils around the victim stayed tight. Between 2 loops, the trapped mongoose moved one paw and was still alive. The sight changed the troop's noise into a harsher, more urgent chorus. Several mongooses advanced together, then separated before the tail could sweep again. The python turned toward one threat and exposed the other side of its body. A scar-faced adult darted close and bit the neck behind the occupied jaws. The grip forced the python's head sideways, but it did not release its prey. One violent body roll threw the attacker clear and opened space around the snake. For a moment, the python regained control and tightened the upper coil. The trapped mongoose's paw went still as dust settled across his fur. The troop did not retreat. It closed the circle and rushed from 3 directions. Teeth caught the same exposed flank, turning many small bites into constant pressure. The python could keep constricting, but every second brought more wounds and less control. To defend its body, it had to loosen part of the trap it had built. The tail pulled free first, sweeping backward toward the shelter of the mound. 2 attackers followed it, keeping the rear half of the snake in motion. Then the upper loop shifted, and a narrow gap opened above the mongoose's ribs. His chest rose once, but the jaws were still locked onto his shoulder. The scar-faced adult attacked the neck again, safely behind the python's head. This time, the snake released its bite and turned toward the closer danger. The final coil opened, and the injured mongoose dropped onto the red earth. 2 companions seized his loose fur and pulled him beyond the snake's reach. The python struck defensively once, missed, and began sliding toward the mound. The troop followed only far enough to keep the retreat moving away from them. At the dark opening, the last patterned coil disappeared into safety. Behind the line of defenders, the rescued mongoose was breathing on his own. He stood unsteadily, protected on both sides by members of the troop. Together, they moved back into the grass with the injured animal in the center. The python chose one mongoose as prey and discovered that it had challenged 20.